G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Breakevens, heading into round 13, our first major buy round of the season. You may have noticed that I'm sitting in a slightly different spot today. Catmandu, she's been struck down by the roof flu. Is she a coward? I'll let you decide that. I personally think she is. Bring in my 5'8", T-Rex. We're on slightly different angles today. I can hardly fucking see you, and it's fantastic. I love it. How are you, mate?
Yeah, you say that. I'm staring straight between your eyeballs and I'm terrified. Look, Catmandu, cat by name, cat by nature, hasn't turned up today, which is disappointing. But, mate, I'm loving you on the ones and twos over there. Apologies in advance to those watching on YouTube and just you'll be talking, it'll be sitting on me picking my nose or something. Mate, it's how do you feel over there?
Mate, I've survived my first two assignments, the first two switches thus far. But, yes, I guarantee you I will fuck it up at some point. And I actually don't apologise. It's Kat's fault.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
She owes it to each and every one of you. So I apologise, kinda. But yeah, we're just going to work it out as we go. You might say to me, the patients are running the asylum this morning.
Yeah, it's anything could happen. CBA, it could be anything this show. And mate, it's going to be tough for you this week. And I do fear for your Supercoach team because as a bloke who historically has copied just about every trade I've ever done, because you're worried about the ones and twos, you're not really going to be able to take in all the trade advice I give you and tell you what to do. Do you want to get started on last week or should I get into it? How do we want to do this?
I will just say as well that doing the ones and twos this week, and I am probably more at sea with what the fuck I should do this week more than ever before. So my 3 brain cells that live in my melon are already doing fucking overtime this week. Trying to throw this in there is going to be very tough. But let's get to last week.
3 brain cells. Looking after yourself, mate. They're
yeah,
generous.
I'm going overs. I might just hand over to you. I'm happy to wear it. Take my licks.
It's like you sit here and you're the content king. You sit there and you pick on every little thing that I do. And little nice old Timbo, he doesn't poke fun at Roo too much. But, mate, it's just backflip after backflip after backflip. And let's get on to last week. And we're sitting here 7 days ago and you're saying, oh, look, I probably won't be trading this week. Maybe I'll do one trade. I know you're looking at Jack Cole. Anyway, Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, whenever it was, you called me and you go, mate, I'm doing the exact same trades as you, Manu in, Wishay in. It's like, why do you pretend with all this bullshit when we just know you're going to copy what I do?
Yep, happy to wear it. Going to have to wear it. Got no other choice. I will say this. Made the decision to bring in Joey Manu with you last week, which hurt me so much because I thought this could quite easily finish your season immediately, as it tends to do. Anyway, I brought him in, and of course, I was down there at the Raiders-Roosters game on the sideline, and I was with all the Raiders assistants and staff and everything, who are lovely people, by the way. G's got a good group of people down there in the nation's capital, mate.
Oh,
They're
mate,
very impressive.
It's not like even a cop-out and saying it because I go for the club and had a bit to do with them over the years that they're just nice people. The culture's awesome. Like, they're such a wonderful group, from the boy or girl at the front desk all the way up to Ricky Stewart. They've got so much time for everyone. They're such good people, and there's hardly a dickhead in the club, which is, I think, is a pretty rare thing for any workplace these days. They're great bunch of people.
I mean this like in the nicest way possible, and as a compliment. Like it felt like it was run like a local country club.
Yeah.
In that everyone's in each other's pockets. Everyone's just got one common goal they're heading towards. There was no egos. There was no bullshit. It was very, very impressive, mate. I really was blown away at just how different it was to Sydney clubs. And I'm sure that the way that the Raiders do things, a lot of Sydney clubs would sort of almost like stick their nose up at. But it all worked perfectly. There was no drama. Everything went to plan, and they just trusted everyone to do their role, which I thought was really impressive.
Yeah, they're awesome. I went down there as, I think, a 20-year-old. I was working at the Daily Telegraph at the time. I'd been there about a year or something. And I sort of got in touch with them and said, oh, look, I'm coming down, do a bit of media sort of stuff. I think it was pre-season. There was a trial game, and I went to their training, and sort of Benny Pollock, one of the great men, the media manager down there, who I'd had a bit to do with over the years, and he goes, yeah, mate, we'll see who we can get, And they go, oh, did you want to have a chat to Ricky? And I'm like, Ricky Stewart? I'm like, yeah, sure, thinking like out of my wildest dreams. Ricky invited me up to his office. I chatted to him for like half an hour, asked him anything, delayed the training by like 5-10 minutes because I was sitting there having a yarn to him. I'm like, who offers that access? Like it's such a great club.
No, I was so impressed. I was blown away by how impressive it all was and just how nice all the boys were. Jamal Fogarty made a comment to me about how he'll be back for my draft team soon. So he's well aware he's in the side. Caught up with your doppelganger, Zach Hosking, who mentioned to me that a third of the DMs he gets is, he looks at me, he goes, a third of the DMs I get is just because I look like your fucking mate. It's bullshit. And I was like, fair. I apologise. That was just after I'd mentioned to him, can we do a bit of content? And I felt the vibe. I thought, I better not. Might just let this one go. Zach Hosking, one of the great guys. But what I was getting at is I was standing on the sideline with the staff there that I'd spent all day with and were champions. Zach Hosking was there. Fogarty was there. And when Manu crossed for his first try, little guru fist pump, and they all looked at me and went, you're fucking kidding, Nudge. I went, yep, sorry. It's your mate's fault. It's Tim Williams' fault.
It's nothing against you. It's SuperCoach.
It's SuperCoach. This is life. But yes, have to wear it. Copied you last week. I brought in Manu, and who else did I?
Tyron Wishart,
yeah. Who?
You wouldn't have known he was playing last week if I didn't mention him.
Fuck, mate. That is fucking atrocious. Wishart is a Gerringong CBA from a long time ago. My boy Jack Cole did well, scored more points, and I know he's been named this week, but I'll be very surprised if he plays. I think they're trying to take some light off the young fella making his debut off the bench. I reckon he'll start. So, Tyron Wishart turned out to be a good one, scored well. Fuck, I'll tell you what, Timmy. I know he's not the most relevant player in the world, but I love watching Tyron Wishart play rugby league.
So do I.
He's just good to watch. I feel like Tyron Wishart would be as good in first grade as he would be in State of Origin as he would be for mascot A grade.
He's a goer.
Yeah, he's a proper goer.
So I was so excited to bring him in last week, and I was very confident. And don't get me wrong, it can still go pear-shaped, but watching him play last week, I know he had a late-ish try assist for Jerome Hughes for his 60 points, but first you've got to remember we brought him in at 380k. We didn't bring him in at, if you're bringing someone in at 700k and they score 60, you go, okay, look, that's a bit disappointing. We got him at 380k. He's one of them blokes, I reckon there'll be a lot of junk time in him and that sort of stuff, because if the Storm are up 40-0 or whatever, he won't care. He will just go to the final whistle. Runs so often, bust tackles. So a good little start to his tenure at the Cooma Stallions, Wishy.
Yeah, very, very happy to have him. And a special shout out to, and I might actually get a bronze statue put up here in the studio, to the great Simi Sasagi, who's been sitting on my pine the last few weeks and was named this week coming off the bench. So great to see.
I'm going to tell it very quickly because I told on the Playbook Potty last night, but it was just very funny now that you bring it up. Got a message from you yesterday, mate. What are the chances of Simi Sasagi starting this week with Hudson out? I said, probably not, mate. I think they might go with Mariota, but, you never know. Got into the studio yesterday. Teams had just been named. And Matty the Waterboy, I go, how you looking? He goes, good, like particularly good now. I've still got Adam Mariota. So the one Adam Mariota owner is Matty the Waterboy, and the one Simi Sasagi owner is you.
Oh, we'll take him.
Matty was into you as well.
I'll tell you what, if Simi Sasagi ends up being part of my best 13 this week, some other guys have seriously shit the
Tough
bed.
week.
So we will see. Timmy, let's have a look at the weekly winner from this week, and it was Zach, a ZAC of Lomax variety. Cobbo Lofo. Not bad. 1,591, a very, very good knock. His overall rank is 78. So, Zach, you need to send an email to beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. We have got hats. I do not have one around me, but we have got hats coming your way. We've got a Guru Beers and Breakevens football coming your way. There's a little charge down there by Timmy Williams. He's got one for us coming your way. And the footballs, I've caught up with Steeden this week. They are coming set at the end of the month, which was 3 days ago, which was 3 days until the end of the month, Timmy. So I'm trying to work out. There's the hat. Timbo's got one. Chuck it on your melon. Looks great.
Ruin my hair, mate.
Oh, boy. Little
Ladies,
guru's got a bit of movement. So, yes, mate, Zach, send an email, brother. We'll get that sorted. We'll get them all out to you ASAP. The footballs are coming from Steeden, which are going to be unreal for you guys. And we might even have some of those hats in storage here that we'll be selling in the foreseeable future for you Beers and Breakevens degenerates out there. Timbo, let's talk Supercoach this week, I scored 1,189. I know what you're thinking. Oh, you Captain Nico, you poor bastard. Didn't Captain Drinkwater. Tim, I keep having these weeks where I think, so many other people have done worse than me, but I just don't seem to make any fucking ground. I went down 500 spots this week, 12,975. I've got about 3 trades left. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, to be completely honest with you. How are you feeling at the moment?
It's funny. I was at that Sharkies Panthers game on the weekend, and I messaged you and said, mate, 25% of the top 10% ranked overall captain Nico, and we were both going pretty well at that time. And you go, should be some good green arrows this week. Should be a good week. I'm like, mate, just hold your phone a little bit there. Things can change so quickly in this game. Mate, I'm all right. I scored 1,288 points, so I moved up into 9,200th overall. So I'm pretty. I would like to obviously be higher. Like if you ask me at round 1, where do you want to be leading into the bye period, I would have said top 5,000 definitely, again, without going over what I say time and time again. But I always start slow. I build depth, hopefully save a few trades, etc., etc. But I did jump sort of like 2,500 spots or something this week, which I feel quite good about. So I mentioned last night, but I think it's a very realistic goal. My buy numbers are set up really well. I've been planning for it for a long time. Saved a handful of trades. Got a boost left. So if I can get toward that top 1,000 barrier by like end of the buy period, round 19, 20, I think that sets me up for, realistically top spots, probably a bit of a stretch at the moment. I'm never going to say die in that one because you make some big moves very quickly in this game. But at the very least, I think I'm still placed well enough. But yeah, need to make some moves in this buy period.
I love the never say die attitude. I'm not far off saying die, to be honest with you. I don't think I can. I think at best I can maybe scrape the top 1,000 with where I'm at. But
seriously?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like other years I've been confident that it's all coming together. I'm doing well. This year, I don't know. I just feel like I'm not making the right calls at the right moments. And usually at this point, I would have a lot of trades saved to be able to use late. And I just don't have them this year. I don't think I'm going to have a train wreck season. I'm just not sure if I'm going to be able to go to the heights that I usually would like. That's just vibe. There was a period of last year where I thought I was never going to catch you. I said I was gone, to be fair. And you know, but what saved me was having trades at the back end of the season and making big plays. So that's, I don't know. We'll see how we go.
How's your, I'm confident because firstly squad depth, but buy plan is good. My numbers are great.
Yeah.
Have you had a look forward at your numbers sort of thing?
I've had a little bit of a look at it and I'm cruising this week, obviously. I've got too many players. I've almost got more than my fucking draft team.
Yeah.
But the other weeks I'm okay. I don't think I'm going to be as good as you are. I probably haven't thought as far ahead as those go, but I will over the next few weeks a little bit more. Like I'm not sitting in a bad spot, but yeah, there's just a few Lomax hitting pick for Origin hasn't helped.
That hurts, yeah.
In saying that, Appy didn't get picked.
Yeah,
so
true.
You've lost Robson. I keep Appy. Simi Sasagi of Immortality fame comes back in. This Adam Fanua-Blake situation worries me. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. So that's a concern for me. I don't know. Just us already having Fafita and him not getting picked for Origin's a little win.
Wonderful.
So it's not all negative. I don't know. I just don't know if I'm going to be going into that top echelon. But we'll see.
I do apologise in advance for doing this, but there's a lot of Queensland bullshit about what you're saying right now and similar tactics because you do this, you play like such the victim and I'm struggling, I couldn't possibly beat you from here. Firstly, I've got you about 200 points and you're all negative, and then you buy some 1% ownership dude the last 2 rounds that'll average 200 over those 2 weeks, and you'll pick me on the buzz and you go, I was dead and buried and I came back. Just like Queensland and Harry Grant, who's got a little sniffle in his nose 2 weeks before Origin is in doubt. Very similar attitude from you, Rue, and I don't like it, especially while you're wearing a New South Wales Rugby League hat.
No comment. No
you know exactly
whatsoever.
What you're doing.
We'll see. I will. Yes, you are right, though. I will be trying to pull rabbits out of the arse late in the season for sure. But, mate, I'm just not sure if I'm going to have the trades to fucking do it. That's my big worry. But
yeah,
we'll get there.
Mate, just before we move on to teams, we've got 13 of the top 15 ranked overall people in our beers and breakevens. A bit slow on the ones and twos there, mate.
Yeah, very slow. Very slow.
13 of the top 15 ranked players overall in Supercoach, which is phenomenal. The leader, Slippery Martin Big in our league, Martin Big won Supercoach in 2011, so that is unreal.
What?
Yeah, how good. What a weapon. We league code 339640. That closes at kickoff on Thursday night this week. I'll be screenshotting not all the entries there, a lot of the entries there. So if we get to the end of the season and the winner of that group is not in my screenshot saved, you will not be eligible for that prize. 339640. Let's get stuck into it, Root.
I cannot believe he won in 2011 and he's back at number 1 now. That's insane.
Awesome, hey.
Gavin Cooper is his captain.
First person to go back to back. Watch out.
That's wild. Okay. That's on you, not me. Good. Good thing we caught that cough.
Yeah, thank God.
All right. Let's get stuck into Team List Tuesday. Obviously, round 13, shorter round and whatnot. Thursday night, we've got the Eels and the Sharkies, 7:50 p.m. coming to you from Combank Stadium. For the Eels, Gutho at 1, Moses at 7, Blaze Talangi moves back to the bench. Brandon Hands, or Hanads, as I've named him in the team sheet. Kelmer on the edge, Joe O in jersey 13. Sean Lane on the bench. Ryan Madison named on the extended. For the Sharkies, a Williams from Kuma in jersey 13. Trindle comes back in the 7. Obviously for the Eels, mate, the big ins, the 7 and the 1, massive. But I think it's the collateral damage we're going to talk about. Blaze Talangi. And I know what you're going to say. Guru, your poor draft team. It's a travesty, Timbo.
You idiot. Oh, my goodness. This brought me so much joy. And you know what? I was worried about it all weekend from the second he carved up the bunnies in attack. And then I saw Clint Gutherson listed to come back this week. So, where are they bringing Gutho back? Do they stick with Talangi? And the second the team's dropped, I went straight to this one. Granted, it was the first game, so it was going to happen anyway. And Talangi on the bench, I just went, this is wonderful. He owned by 74% of the top 10% overall. So, look, mate, we're non-owners and neg 21 break even. Last time he played off the bench, he played about 15, 20 minutes, and that was because there was an injury and he came on. This is a big win for non-owners, but for the vast majority of super coaches, it's a big loss.
I will say this, Timmy. It's a win for us as far as Classic goes. Draft, it's an L for me. I am just going to wait and see until an hour before kickoff.
It's not guaranteed, for sure.
Yeah, it's the one thing I'm just waiting to see, and then we can have our celebratory drinks. For the Sharkies, mate, Trindle obviously comes back in. Is there anything you want to touch on? Sean Lane on the bench. Not ideal.
Not ideal. And you know what? I've basically held reluctantly Sean Lane for this round, and now he's on the bench for it. But it's one of the ones where he's just annoyed me, and I don't think he's playing great footy, and I'm kind of like, I think he deserves to be on the bench. So he did play through the middle last week when he came on. So if you can just jack some half-right minutes and get through some work, I only need 40-odd from him.
Yep, you'll take it. Friday night, Knights, Doggies, 8 p.m. from Newcastle for the Knights. Mapapalangi in the centres. Kai Pearce-Paul named to start. We'll wait for final team list to have that confirmed. For the Doggies, Wilson on the sting. Kiraz moves into the centres. Hutcho, Drew Clutchinson at 5'8". Jacob Preston comes on the edge, replacing Viliami Kickout. Kurt Mann returns in the 13. Curran back on the bench with Farmasili as well. Anything to touch on in this game, Timbo?
Oh, just the timely return of Puaso Farmasili, sitting patiently waiting for this round all season for the Stallions.
I wrote it down, then I deleted it, then I thought, I'm sure Tim's got that motherfucker, so I might put it back in there.
Imagine, doesn't it just reek of Farmasili crossing over for a double in his 10 minutes on field?
Not even a little bit. Saturday, Panthers Dragons, 5:30 p.m. coming to you from Penrith. Went to say the name of the stadium. I can't. Penrith, Dane Laurie at fullback. Taruva on the wing. Jesse McLean is on the other wing. Cole and Schneider in the halves. I personally don't think Jack Cole will play this week. Liam Henry on the edge. Another little early Christmas present for owners there. Smith in jersey 13. Trent Tillau in jersey 14. I haven't seen him play. I don't know anything about him, to be completely honest with you, but I did notice he's 24 years old, so credit to him to hang around for his first grade debut. And Preston Ricky, who, I could be wrong, but Preston Ricky absolutely carved up an All-Stars game, what feels like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Mate, it was started last year from memory.
Was it last year?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was last year. He killed it. We've been looking out for him. Has had a few injuries and whatnot, but he destroyed that game. You're going, all right, get this man in, and he just hasn't had a run. So excited to see him.
Yep, excited to see him go around. Shout out to keep an eye on Jesse McLean on the wing for the Panthers. I think with Taruva leaving next year, I think he'll become a permanent part of this side.
Just one on this one, Roo. Let's say Jack Cole does play and people look to get him in. That scored that 90-odd last week, very low break even, 5'8". I think every Penrith boy, or just about all the Penrith players, don't back up from Origin. So I think there'd be every chance Cole and Schneider do play again next week. Schneider coming back a little bit earlier from injury. But when Luai does come back, who's his halves partner?
Good question. When Luai comes
It's tough
back.
because it was always going to be Schneider, who was really good when Cleary was out earlier in the season before Schneider got injured himself, which gave Cole the opportunity. But they blitzed the ladder-leading Sharks 42-0, whatever it was, on the weekend with Cole and Luai playing as the 7. So if Luai's playing as the 7, Cole at 6 probably makes sense. But do they go back to Luai 6 and Schneider come in and playing as that organising 7? It's relevant for anyone wanting to bring in Jack Cole, but it's also like, who knows?
Shout out to me who didn't have the camera on you at any point then. I personally think, and I forgot to put it on me again, I personally think I'm reasonably confident Jack Cole does not play this weekend. I don't reckon it'll be a conversation. It could be 100%. And personally, I would lean towards having Schneider at 7 because then at least you can train with your halfback during the week.
Yeah.
And Jerome Luai can just chime in and play his normal role. But you're right, mate. They looked unreal on the weekend the other way around. For the Dragons, we have got Finau on one wing. The Fay guys, they are at centre and wing on the other side. Marshke at 7. Eisenhuth moves back to 13. Leilua on the edge. RFM on the edge. And the Couchman brothers come in on the bench as well. Anything to talk about with this Dragon side, Timbo?
Other than the world's biggest bench, no. The Couchman's boys, they're both big boys as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they're big bits of
That is
gear.
a huge bench.
Yeah, very interesting back line. Very, very interesting.
I'd be surprised if they run out with that bench. Like, yeah.
Yeah, someone knocking at the door.
Yeah.
It's a bad time to be knocking at the door.
Do you want me to check it while you dribble on there?
Yeah, do you want to maybe, actually, can I leave you to dribble on and I'll check who's at the door? If you want to have a look at your Dolphins and the Raiders, mate.
Is the camera on me or not?
No, it's not. Now it is.
Yeah. Oh, they've stormed their way in anyway, so all good. We've got a breach at the CBA Centre of Excellence going through the Dolphins and Raiders. This is the drama that happens when Cats away. Trey Fuller in for Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Great news for the Stallions, of course, who held on to him there. Not a heap else going on at the Dolphins, at the Raiders. Ruse Simi Sasagi coming onto the bench. Ada Mariota starting on the edge. And, yeah, look, Josh Papali'i back in from suspension. Raiders just losing Hutto Young to Origin. So, look, there's not too much going on in that game in terms of major team changes. How'd you go, Rue? Was there anything? Was it worth the interruption?
It was worth the interruption, mate. I've actually had a pop-in visit by my grandparents, so we're now recording in front of a live audience.
You're kidding.
So brace yourself. How'd you go?
Yeah, good. Grandma and Grandpa Rue.
Yeah, keep the ship afloat without me. Good to see. Are we done with that game?
Yeah.
Did you give Simi Sasagi a big shout out?
I did.
Good to hear. Good to hear. All right, Sunday afternoon footy. Got the Roosters and the Cows. 4 p.m. coming to you from Allianz. For the Chooks, Palger at centre. Terrell May starts. We love to see Butcher and Radley on the edges. White in jersey 13. Wong, Satilli, Smith, and Jennings on the bench. One of the more bizarre interchange benches we've ever seen. I will say I watched reserve grade on the weekend of the Chooks. Wong and Satilli pretty much played as middle forwards. Smith I get, but geez, Michael Jennings on the bench. Surely there's got to be a change to that, doesn't there, Timbo?
You'd think so. As a Terrell May owner, ideally hope not. But if that bench runs out as named, Terrell May.
Huge for Terrell May.
Oh, God.
Absolutely love that.
If that bench is as is, he could play 60-plus minutes. And in that time, he will offload. He'll have 20-plus runs. You know, through the Cowboys' middles, could bag a bit of meat or an assist or something. Very exciting. And I just think the whole Origin period, the reason I held on to him after he had those couple of low scores in a row was going Lindsay Collins out to Origin, Angus Crichton out to Origin, add in Spencer Leniu now. I just think there's a plan for him to have a big role through this Origin period by Trent Robinson.
How good is Spencer Leniu getting picked from Origin from this perspective of us that have held him? Big win. I think he's at about $4.20 for an ATS against the Cowboys without Cotter and Robson. Thanks for coming. Cows, Chester back into the centres. Burns on the wings. Clifford at 5'8". Granville in jersey 9. Griffin Neem starts. Finay Fuiaki on one edge. McKaylee in jersey 13. Edwards off the bench with Shibasaki, who's making his first grade debut. So congratulations to him. Anything to talk about here, Timmy? How are we feeling about Drinky in this game? Is he like I don't think I could. I don't have a great captain options, but I'm not confident he goes big against the Roosters. What are your thoughts?
I think the Roosters will obliterate them, and I will not be captaining Scott Drinkwater, and I will be captaining a Rooster. Which one? TBD. We'll get to that soon.
We'll get to that very soon. Interesting. Okay, we done with Teamless Tuesday?
Yeah, mate.
All done and dusted. Okay, Blue Wealth Property. Events coming up over the next few weeks and the next 24 hours as well. Thursday, the 30th of May, Wealth Through Property. That is live in Southern Sydney at Club Central in Hurstville. Learn everything you need to know about building wealth through property and how Blue Wealth use a research process to identify the best investment for your financial future. The best time to buy a property was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Blue Wealth can help you make it happen. Shout out to Mortz, who slipped a full stop there in the wrong stop, which really threw me, Timbo. A special pop-up event Thursday, May the 23rd at 12 p.m. Property, we've already had that. Good. Okay. So
You've been good today, mate.
Yeah, we're flying. Thursday, the 6th of June, helping your kids into the property market live at Blue Wealth HQ in Sydney Olympic Park and via the webinar, 6:30 p.m, debunking the myth that your kids will never be able to afford to buy a property. So all those links are in the description. Got to set a reminder for myself to do that, Timmy.
Yeah.
This afternoon without Kat. She's really
It's a big day for you.
It's a huge day for me.
Between hitting the ones and twos, which you've missed out again.
I have missed again. Consistency is key.
Yeah, lucky I'm staring at you and I can see everything that you screw up. It's nice. But it's a big day for the Russo. Look, be kind in his DMs. Don't be too harsh on him if he misses the beat somewhere. We know that the camera's going to be all over the shop, but he's doing overs today, and that's because the Rook didn't turn up. So just be easy on him.
And if you are going to go hard in the DMs, make it count, yeah?
Do it properly.
Really go good. All right, let's have a look at Tim's deep dive. We're going to kick off with Dylan Brown, mate. Dual position, which we love to see. A little bit underwhelming so far this year. What do you got for me?
And that's statement is the exact reason that I brought him up, mate, because he does feel like he's underwhelmed. And looking at his season average, he certainly has underwhelmed. Season average of 65 points, season averages last 2 years of 76 and 74. But in what's been a very volatile halves this season, both 5'8" and halfback, he's just been rock solid. Scored under 54 once all season. That was a 42 against the Tigers, so hardly a diabolical score there. Hasn't scored a ton yet, but it just comes back to the importance of base and power stats. But like, he bases 33, with all his runs come tackle breaks and a few offloads and that, dual positioning. So look, he's a popular buy this week leading into is a Kiwi. He's a good buy period coverage option. The dual position is so crucial at the moment in the halves. He's just so reliable, isn't he?
Isn't buy-round footy just so bizarre that this guy that I've been so disappointed with all year becomes a must-have?
Yeah.
Sort of guy. It's wild, but I get it. Mulatalo, mate, at the Sharkies. No Nico Hines this week. Trindle back into the side, which I personally think helps Mulatalo. What do you got for me?
One of the most sold players this week, Ronaldo Mulatalo. I actually had him pegged as a potential buy. And the stats, I think, back this up really well because when Braden Trindle was stood down for a little bit and missed a stretch of games, as soon as it happened, we said, this is bad news for Mulatalo because Atkinson comes in, Nico Hines on the right edge, he'll get a lot of the ball. So he's down to 568K now with a break-even of 111. His last 3 games, that base has regressed to just 18 per game after being a lot better earlier on in the season. He scored 8 tries in his first 6 games. He's only scored 1 try in his last 5. Those 5 games coincided entirely with Braden Trindle being out.
Yeah,
Braden Trindle's back now. I don't know if Trindle plays left or right or what happens there, but regardless, without Nico being super dominant on that right edge that he plays, it's just good things for Mulatalo. Look, I don't need around 13 numbers, so I won't be buying him, but I just think Mulatalo at that price, for what he did earlier on in the season and Trindle back in, I suppose the big question as well is, Roo, and again, we don't know, but does Trindle hold his spot when Nico returns, or do they stick with Atkinson? Because, I think Millie Taylor's a sneaky one.
Isn't it tough with Atkinson? Like, I look back and I think to myself, okay, he was part of their best win in a long time against Melbourne. He was also a big part of their biggest loss as well. So I'm not too sure. I'd be lying if I said I was confident either way on that. What happens? I could see it falling both ways with those two. Moses Sully, mate. An interesting one here. Always been a real pottish sort of option, Moses Sully. Talk to me. What are you thinking here?
So, firstly, the late show tonight, it's going to be a cracker. Without Kat here, we've changed it up a little bit in terms of the questions, and I'm going to be looking at buy-period super pods, under 3% ownership players. There's a ton of them to get you through the buy period. It's really fun, and blokes that, content creators and myself included, don't really touch on because they're low ownership for a reason. There are so many great buys, and I was going to save Sully for that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about him now. Among the top 10% ranked Supercoach coaches overall, Sully's at 0.3% ownership. He's at 409K at the moment. He had that first minute concussion against the Roosters a few rounds back, so he's bottomed out in price. Take it that game, he's averaging 50 points per game. Not incredible by any means, but like pretty solid considering he's 409K, basing 36.25 per game, which is outstanding. You add in now Ben Hunt out this week. The Dragons, everything they do is down the right edge of Ben Hunt. So with Flano now running the show, assuming he stays on that left edge, Sully could see more ball there. The Dragons cover around 13 and they cover around 19. So pretty good. It's good buy coverage. He's only scored 2 tries this season and had 1 try assist. So not many attacking stats there. Look, he's not someone I'm going to be getting in, but for people looking to free up a bit of money there and get a good buy coverage player, Moses Sully with enormous base, I can see serious merit in it.
Yeah, you've put up a pretty good argument. Not one that I won't be going down that avenue, but I can understand it if people do 100%. And next guy, mate, Joe Tarpanay. As I said, I was on the sideline with the Raiders on the weekend, and mate, watching him get on the bike, good God, I felt sorry for that bike. He is one enormous human being, isn't he?
He is. And a bloke that always becomes relevant this time of the year, again, being a Kiwi at the Raiders, and Ricky Stewart tends to build him into minutes throughout the year and not sort of smash him too early on. Just not, he's been great in actual NRL, but Supercoach just not quite there. He's averaging 54 minutes per game. I think that can increase a little bit as the season goes on, and particularly through this period. Averaging 59 points, but mate, the big regression in his scoring has come from his lack of offloading this season. In his last 5 games, he's only had 1 offload. In his last 7 games, he's only had 4 offloads, which takes Supercoach out of the equation. I don't know why, because the Raiders look, we don't have the most lethal backline of all time at the moment. Our ball movement, particularly with Jamal Fogarty out, is not great. And I've said, like, for the last couple of years, with such a brutal and a dynamic forward pack, you've got these great offloading forwards. Just do it. Get the second phase play going. Get Jordan Rapana into the game. Get Xavier Savage sniffing around the ruck. And it just like with numbers like that, you'd think Ricky Stewart nearly must have had a directive for Tarpanay to put it away. But until he starts offloading a little bit more, I just don't think he's probably an option.
Isn't it bizarre? Ricky seems to do this at some point every single year where they just go through periods where they all just refuse to offload the footy. It's when you're at your best. I can never work it out.
I don't get it either. So, I don't like it. But, yeah, Supercoach-wise it sucks. NRL-wise I don't like it either. But, look, he knows more than I do, so...
Okay, you've got here Dolphins wingers, and I know you've got one of them. I have neither of them, the great Jack Bostock and Jermaine Isako. Talk to me.
It's just one that piqued my own interest a little bit, especially not even since I've owned Isako. I've been sort of watching them both all season, and my gut feel was just that they never really went big Supercoach twice together and scored tries together. The Dolphins seem to just hone in on the weaker edge each round, and they just seem to go at it. So it's either a fill-up for Bostock or it's a fill-up for Jermaine Isako. And I see, like, particularly Isaiah Katoa, and look, this could absolutely, and there's every chance to just be chance, but I'm seeing the sample size getting bigger and bigger now. Isaiah Katoa he's a left-side player, Nicarima plays on the right, but he's starting to play more and more and slicing over to the right edge and having a big impact on the right edge as well. But 11 games each this season, Bostock and Osaka. I don't think they've missed a game yet. 17 tries between them, killing it. But they never do it together. Round 6 is the only time that they've both scored in the same game, which is, pretty rare for after 11 games for a team that's scoring a lot of points. They've both had a few fill-ups with doubles and a hat-trick for Osaka a few weeks back. I just found that very interesting. And, there's just games, even on the weekend, they just kept going to Osaka on the right. He had, I think, 3 line breaks or something, and Bostock didn't get a lot of good ball. Can you make any sense of it, or just it's probably just chance? But I found it fascinating.
Could it potentially be matchup dependent?
Who they're up against?
Who they're up against?
I do, I think it is.
Yeah.
But it's just funny how hard they just go, all right, that's the weaker edge. Let's go at it.
Let's go at it. Let's go all at it. Yeah, interesting. All right, mate, should we get to our trades? Because, as I said off the top, I am all at sea this week with what I'm doing.
It's all right, mate. Daddy's here to help you.
Yeah, Daddy's here. I need to start saving some trades. I absolutely hate the position I'm in right now. I've used too many of them. I've got 22 left with 1 boost. Where are you sitting, mate?
I have 22 left with 1 boost as well.
1 boost. We're in the same boat. Okay.
Yeah, so gone harder than we would have liked to.
Yeah, definitely gone harder than we would have liked to. It could be worse. There'll be a lot of people out there listening that have used more trades, but we both like to sort of save for the back end. This week, mate, I want Teddy. I think off the back of getting brushed from Origin, I think that I know there's the risk of him coming back into that side, but I just think Edwards very rarely injured, and I just don't think Edwards is going to play bad enough to be dropped from that side.
I say this. I'm holding a wooden table as I say this. I don't think he has a bad game in him, does he?
I don't think he does.
Yeah, he's so consistent.
Even if he has a poor game, I don't think it's going to be poor enough to go, oh, wait a minute, let's bring the captain back in after it. Like, that's just going to be a nightmare.
It'd have to be a stinker.
It would have to be an absolute stinker, which I don't think he's got in him. So I feel like Teddy's pretty safe staying at the Roosters there. And I also don't think you're going to bring Teddy back into that side to play any other position either. So I want to get my paws on Teddy. I think this game this week against the Cowboys, man, I'm playing him in draft this week, and I think I'm going to watch it from behind the lounge, absolutely petrified. I think I want to find a way to get him in, but unfortunately, I can't get him in without making 2 trades.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It's so annoying. It is punishing. So, mate, what I'm thinking of doing, I'm thinking of moving on Angus Crichton. We had a little win this week with Fafita missing Origin. Shout out to him. So he'll stay in our SuperCoach side, which was nice. But Angus Crichton, 853K, the stat everyone keeps throwing out. I think he's going to play 2 out of the next 7 games or something like that. Something outrageous like that over the next few weeks. So I'm happy to move off Angus at 850K. It can free up a bit of cash. My question to you, mate, am I better off moving off Gus the Bus or Nico Hines to free up cash? Which one would you sort of lean towards?
Gus Bus, and I'll tell you why. Spy made a good point last night on the SC Playbook podcast.
It's unusual.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't happen often, but he occasionally jugs one, the big fella. The outcome of Origin is going to have a big impact on SuperCoach teams because there are a lot of key players either just in Origin or just outside of Origin. Mm-hmm. You've just named a few of them. Nico Hines, David Fafita, someone like Zach Lomax, Dylan Edwards, James Tedesco. Super relevant players to us. So Crichton is going to be there. Win, lose or draw, he's going to be there and he's going to be playing big minutes. With all the games that Crichton is guaranteed to miss, as well as I think post like Origin 2 and 3, they've got the bye after Origin 1, so he'll be right. But post Origin 2 and 3, with the Roosters back row depth and forward depth in general, I think there's every chance that Crichton doesn't back up or at least plays off the bench in lesser minutes, especially with the way the Roosters are going. Nico Hines, he's no guarantee to play Origin next week because of his injury. Yep. If he can't train with the team this week, Kiri's there on standby. So in which case, he would probably play around 14.
Yep.
And let me get him up. He plays the Broncos there into the Dolphins. Let's say he doesn't play this week or next week in Origin, or he does play Origin and has a stinker.
Yeah.
And they bring in Mitch Moses there, or they bring in Luke Keary, whoever it might be. He then plays round 14, 15, has the bye 16. Round 17, he has the Dogs. Round 18, the Titans. Round 19, the third major bye, and the toughest one, he has the Tigers.
At Shark Park.
At Shark Park. So you can wait this week because he doesn't play and just reassess how things are going, because despite the big price drops incoming, he's still a sell next week, but he might be a hold, whereas I think Crichton is definitely a sell. That's how I see it.
Okay, you've solved my first headache. Thank you. Let's move to the next. Angus, if I'm going to sell Gus, the player that I was looking at was White from the Sydney Roosters. You have suggested to me Eli Katoa, which I'm okay with. My only worry with getting Eli Katoa, if I was to do that, would it allow me to get Teddy as well? We're about to find out. Yes, it would. Okay. No, it wouldn't. It would leave me 6,000 short. Good. Yeah, always the way. Always
Live
the way.
trading going wrong.
Yeah, that hurts.
Fills me with joy.
Not ideal. All right, so if I go... So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Eli Katoa realistically. I might have to go someone a little bit cheaper in my 2RF. I was looking at White before. Watched him up close on the weekend. Was very, very impressed with him. What are your thoughts there? Like, obviously the job security isn't great, but I also feel like he's jumped up that pecking order a little bit, mate. It seems like I think he played 67 minutes or something on the weekend. What are your thoughts on him?
Don't understand it, don't love it. He's one of those trade-in players this week. And again, he's also someone that, with boys on origin duty, probably does get bigger minutes through this period. So certainly not a bad buy, but you also bring in a Rooster where next week, the Roosters, Dolphins, Raiders on the bye, people are going to, unless like everyone backs up from origin and there's no injury dramas or anything, I think there's going to be Supercoaches running without 17 players next week. I really do. You bring in another Rooster. Before last week, he hadn't played more than 38 minutes in a game. So from round 9 backwards, he played 35, 32, 38, 26, 31, 31, 21, 67 last week. Now let's go through last week's team sheet. No Connor Watson is my concern because he's not that far away, is he?
I think round 15, Connor said he's
so
back.
not that far away.
Yeah.
He comes back in. Cheese plays more of a middle, but just more people in that middle rotation. From last week's team where Nafu White started at lock, Egan Butcher got injured in this one, which would have inflated minutes.
Correct.
Was there anyone else out from this forward pack in this game?
I'll be completely honest with you. On the sideline, I have no idea.
Yeah, so my point
Lindsay
is...
Collins and Maria Hargraves was sweet. They were coming on and off. Egan got injured, and then there was Sandon Smith. So, no, that was it. It was because of Egan.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my point, was there anyone else missing from that pack? I think it's pretty all there, hey?
I think they're all there. Yeah, I think it was only Connor, really. Yeah.
So I think he's an okay buy, as I said, because I think he will get more minutes over the origin period with the other boys out and getting rested. But, like, does he just go back to a... I mean, if he plays 40 minutes with them boys out, he'll do a job.
Yep.
But, like, last week does feel like a case of chasing last week's points to me.
Yep. And I don't disagree with you. I just think I need to find a way to get Teddy this week. I want him. I think he is... We'll get to it soon, but I think he's probably the best captain option this week.
Yeah.
Teddy. So, yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards, bringing in White and Tedesco. I would say this, if you are thinking about doing something similar, have a look at your numbers for next week. I know that I'll have 16 or 17, so I'm okay. I just think Teddy goes nuclear this week.
Yeah.
This might be my opportunity to maybe wrangle in a few points on you. That's without knowing what you're actually doing. I assume you're saving trades with your self-control of a Jedi over there. What are you doing?
What am I doing right now, mate?
Nothing, as per usual.
I'm sitting on my hands.
Pretender. Absolute pretender.
Yeah, I'm thinking, it's been my plan for a while. I wanted to save trades in recent weeks and it hasn't event traded that way. I've got 15 players for this week. I've got 14 decent players and then Puaso Farmasili, who's, irrelevant. So 15, let's say call it 14 players. My numbers for round 17 are pretty good. I think I've got 17 at the moment and that's not including so I think it's 700. That's including 2 trades as well. So next week I'm already looking at Angus Crichton to Eli Katoa and then probably trade Fuller to a fullback. I'm not trading, going to bank those, which I feel absolutely wonderful about. I'm not at this stage even tempted to really trade. I could strengthen my lineup a little bit with something here or something there, but I'm going to feel better doing that. My numbers are good for round 16 as well, so happy with its place moving forward. I've got Fuller and Drinkwater, and I can't justify getting Teddy in for either of those two this week. However, if I had like your situation where you had Iro at fullback and you can move him back to centre, I would use a trade this week to get Teddy in because I agree he's the best captaincy option. He could go huge. It terrifies me, but I just can't justify trading either of them two this week.
No, completely fair. Roosters play round 16, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm making two trades this
So
week.
I'm not against getting Tedesco in round 15 either after their bye.
Yeah, okay.
His break-even's early 20s, so it's like, all right, sure, he's going to go up money this week, but 28 break-even, it's not going to be anything ridiculous. But yeah, it's going to be a tough watching. So I think, especially after missing Origin, he's going to go nuts.
I think he goes nuts, yeah. All right, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a battle for the ages too, watching our two Titans go head-to-head this weekend, Simi Sasagi versus Farmasilli. That's going to be one of the grades. We should have a little side bet on that, I think. That'll be hilarious to watch.
Yeah.
All right, so you're sitting on your hands. I think I'm going to bring in White and Tedesco. We'll see how that plays out for me. Sit v starts. It is just survival of the fittest this week. You'll work it out. Captains, as much as I hate using all my trades, Timmy, I don't think there's a world where I don't get Tedesco this week. I'm just too scared not to have him. So I think Teddy's going to be my El Capitano. What are you thinking?
Who's your vice? Because we had a free crack at the loophole.
Yeah, I was hoping to have a look at that.
So I'll go to mine.
Who's your key? Yeah, what are you looking at?
And this where it's a bit nervy because I'm like, I don't have a locked-in captain. Jermaine Asako will be my VC against the Raiders. I've got a very solid squad this week without real standout options. Mate, my captain's going to be between Joey Manu and Dominic Young. I think I'm leaning towards Dom Young. I think the Roosters are going to put a score on in this one. I think if you took out last week's scores of Manu 97, the glue was back on his hands last week, and Dom Young 36, I'd be like, cool, I'm very happy with Dom Young and his massive attacking upside. It's hard to look past what did happen last week. Of those two, who do you like better as a captain?
Joey Manglu.
Yeah,
It's Joey Manglu. I probably prefer Manu just because I couldn't sit at home and watch him not pass the football to Dom Young as my captain. It would just kill me. I would go Manu over him. I'm actually thinking, mate, as far as my VC, I've had a quick look over it. I don't love any of my options, to be completely honest with you. Maybe Armstrong. I don't mind that punt against Canterbury in Newcastle coming off a bye. But, mate, that's just because I don't really love any of my other options. Dill Brown against Cronulla, maybe, but I think Cronulla bounced back in a decent way. I don't really have any Panthers against St George. I don't have Lomax. I probably wouldn't do that anyway. I don't have any Dolphins. So, yeah, my hands are sort of tied. I think it's Dill Brown or Armstrong for me, which I don't love either of them, but I love Teddy. So,
and the other thing is, like, if you bring in Teddy this week and moving heaven and earth to get there, like, you want to captain Teddy so bad. So it's going to take a damn good score for you to loop. It's not going to take as big for me with Jermaine Asako. Like, with a free loop, I'd probably take
80, 90?
I think 90 was what I was thinking. I wouldn't take 80.
Okay.
90, I'm really looking at. I think 100 I'd probably lock in as a free go.
Yeah, I'll back that.
90 will be about that ballpark of where I'm thinking about it. I probably the other thing as well, thinking out loud, but if Teddy is to go big, there's every chance Dom Young goes big as well. Yep. So I'm like, at least I could nullify that hopefully a little bit. Anyway.
All right. Is that us done and dusted, big dog?
I think that's it, yeah. Stay tuned for tonight's Late Show Super Pod Edition.
Super Pod Edition coming your way later tonight. I hope I'll be better on the ones and twos than I have been in the last hour.
How bad
I'll be honest
was
with you, Timmy, it's been a disgraceful performance.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful. Got a bit of Tommy Eisenhuth in me from last weekend. Hopefully we can improve. Probably not, though. Shout out to Kat for ruining the show this week.
Yeah, thanks, Kat. To all those YouTube viewers who have just like watched people sitting there, as I said, picking noses, but it does come back to Kat. At the same time, I'm sure you've probably got a new sense of appreciation for what she does.
I do, yeah, because I imagine this episode must look like a scene out of Cloverfield. It's been all over the place. So shout out to Kat for ruining the show. We love and appreciate her always. Make sure, guys, you've got the Blue Wealth property links in the description. Click on those. Come and have a look at a webinar. Come to a live show. We've actually got a special coming over the next few weeks with Blue Wealth property. We've got some of the people that have actually brought a property via Beers and Breakevens coming into the studio. They're going to sit down and have a chat with me, a little deep dive there. Going to have T-Rex or Morts joining us as well. What about those pictures the other day, by the way, seeing the great Turvey Mortimer back in New South Wales? We love to see it.
Is there two things that have ever looked better together than Morts and just New South Wales?
Oh, mate, unreal. I absolutely loved the image of Turvey and Nathan Cleary sitting next to each other on the stage.
Looking sharp, the old boy, as well.
Mate, looking the goods. Don't know what happened to his young bloke, but you can't win them all. So, yeah, shout out to Blue Wealth Property. Link is in the description. Thanks for ruining the show, Kat. And we will see you on the Late Show.
Cheers.
Cheers.